Trap Type of DNC and Trap News Network. You back in the same. Like, cracking the same, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe for more of this good content we got going on here at TNN Trap News Network. Good news you can use. Good knowledge, though. You ain't finna get nobody's college, though. Big dog, tap in with that tap in to make sure you're in fact tapped in with that good tap in. You feel me? With everything we got going on here at TNN Trap News Network. It's that news you can use. That knowledge you ain't finna get nobody's college, big dog. It's that newsington you can usington. It's the knowledge, though. You ain't finna get nobody's college, though. Big dog. Like, comment, subscribe. Like, comment, hit that good subscribe button for everything we got going on here at TNN Trap News Network. It's that news you can use. That knowledge you ain't finna get nobody's college, big dog. Like, comment, subscribe. Like, comment, and hit that good subscribe button for everything we got going on here at TNN Trap News Network. News you can use. Get into that subscribe button, man. Make sure y'all get into that if you ain't got into that. Become a part of this rich trapper mafia. Get into that if you ain't got into that. Get into that if you ain't got into that. Like, comment, subscribe. Like, comment, and make sure you hit that good subscribe button. You feel me? I need y'all to subscribe. Don't be weirdos, bro. Subscribe. We need that. Live at 5. Subscribe on my live. You feel me? We finna jump into this content. Excuse me, man. We got Big U's secret plot to take down WACK100, man. Big shout out to Young and Hefe. Don't care about nothing but what the checks say because somebody's using his content, but we are using the content from On Point Stories. So big shout out to On Point Stories, man. They're using Young and Hefe, so big shout out to On Point Stories and Young and Hefe. They don't care about what the checks say. You feel me? Let's get into this content. Without further ado, man. Let's get into it. Let's go.
On December 27, 2020, on an intercepted call, defendant Henley told another Big U enterprise associate that OG Crip cuz need to be disciplined thoroughly for a violation of cripping. On December 30th,
Enterprise was the words you were looking for. Don't worry about the words are hard.
2022, on an intercepted call, defendant Henley said that when defendant Henley catches WACK100, I'm gonna break his jaw.
Just for me, living through that experience, I know check-in and it ain't nothing wrong with that. Checking in is the new word for a relationship.
That's what it is. Pardon me, I'm sweating.
The new word for a relationship.
And it's like that, but he got the show. Look, he got cameras on us at World Stars called Check In. Now, he ain't come to check in. He just came to get some of this love, you heard? If you ain't got none of this love, I don't know how it's going to go for you, heard? But all we doing is play.
You can go to the club and spend $80,000 on bottles, and you can spend.
This is not gonna age well at all. This is gonna all age terribly, especially with all these celebrities who look like they're kind of afraid for their lives right here.
$10,000
Clearly uncomfortable.
to go in the club, but you haven't done nothing to help the neighborhood. You know, this young man just gave out 500 pair of tennis shoes, and he's about to give out another 500 pair of tennis shoes. Yeah.
I'm dealing with, and I just want to say this to y'all. When they raided my houses and my property, there was
barnacles
asking about WACK, loose cannon, 600, and this internet stuff. All of y'all filed. All y'all who be sending shit around the internet, all y'all who be promoting and listening to what these niggas saying, all of y'all giving these likes and hidden likes, all y'all supporting this.
He's been a community leader as well. So when you get to be extra OG, you get to be a community leader. So Big U was...
You know, it's a lot of people... My bad. It's a lot of people who secretly support WACK100 through way of likes, sharing posts, and all that kind of little stuff. And then they be like, what? I didn't know what? I didn't know. I was just saying, what? Niggas think they naughty. What? All of a sudden, niggas be barnacles, bro. I swear you niggas be barnacles. Scary ass ninjas.
Was running this organization called Development Options, but was also working through what they call a grid program where it was getting paid over like $540,000 a year. So in about a few years, he got paid almost damn near $3 million because the program they have in LA is that the cops, like, you know, it's not like these other places like, say, New York. The cops are scared of the gangs. You know why? Because the gangs almost outnumber the cops.
Then he turned around and hit me on the same Instagram. That's what upset at me. And I'm like, little nigga, I've been hitting you up on the same line. Now you hit me. And that's where our problem, that's where I was like, and I'm like, wait a minute, man. So that's where it was. But like I said, I'm still supposed to be a bigger nigga, though.
No, I'm glad you said something about that, because this something...
Goodness gracious, none of this is aging well through a RICO charge. Barnacles.
That everybody need to hear. Alright, like you just said, you check in with somebody everywhere you go.
Right.
Look on, not you, but the young niggas. young niggas got the word check in so messed up right now.
Right.
Like when a nigga say check in, a nigga automatic, not you on the young people got that word just messed up right
That's
now.
what y'all crazy is.
When somebody hear check in, they automatically think like
You check like you paying a...
Not you. The other ninjas that's extorting me, but not you though. You cool. I'm straight with you, but everybody else though. Oh boy, this is gonna age terribly for everybody involved.
nigga check.
You feel me? Or like, oh, he's saying I gotta pull up here. But that's why I'm glad you said that, because I never really had a problem with, like, checking. That, like, when, like, one time I've been in my hometown and the rapper came down there, I'm like, I've been down here, he ain't even came and mess with me, you feel me? That's where I'm from. I just wanted to show him certain stuff. You feel me? So just for me living through that experience, I know checking and it ain't nothing wrong with that. Checking in is the new word for a relationship.
That's what it is.
But before we get into that, we're going to start with a breakdown of charges against him.
In November 2022, defendant Henley arranged for a co-conspirator to collect an illegal debt from a current NBA All-Star player who purportedly owed $300,000 to a Big U enterprise associate. In November 2022, defendant Henley took a portion of the debt that current NBA star player owed as a fee for collecting illegal debt. On November 7, 2020, an intercepted call after an extortion victim stated that defendant Henley had not fully paid the extortion victim for the work on defendant Henley's vehicle. Defendant Henley directed defendant Martin to call the extortion victim right now and stated that he would go out there and kill that nigga. Defendant Martin then connected defendant Henley with the extortion victim and participated in the extortionated call. On November 14th,
Yeah, see, none of this is gonna age well. The checking in things is all gonna be bad and all gonna be used against him. Let's see what Young and Hefe gotta say.
2020, on an intercepted call, defendant Henley described to a former National Football League NFL player that defendant Henley would beat the shit out of the producer who owned the studio in Las Vegas because he started shit between defendant Henley and WACK100. WACK100 name in here again, y'all. On November 22nd, 2022, on an intercepted call, defendant Henley told an incarcerated individual that anyone coming at him come correct because defendant Henley always has two blowers, i.e. firearms on him. On November 22nd.
See what I mean? Like talking like that. You know, this ain't the Big U that
is going to be UGLY. You ain't got no alibi. It's ugly. Yeah, it's ugly.
That we thought we knew or that we see in the public's eye. This is the this is rolling 60 Big U. The whole different persona, man. Let's go.
2nd, 2022, on the intercepted call, defendant Henley told an incarcerated individual that defendant Henley.
Persona was the word you were looking for. Don't worry about it. Words are hard.
Henley was going to charge someone in federal prison $6,000 to have a phone smuggled to him. On November 23rd, 2022, on the intercepted, defendant Henley said that he can pay 3 people $50 each to beat someone up. On November 23rd, 2022, on an intercepted call, defendant Henley described paying people to mess up a store that was refusing to provide defendant Henley a discount on this.
So because you can't get a disc, bro, they got this man for extortion.
Hey, knocking down somebody's store because you can't get a discount, you're a different level of diabolical for sure. Like, what you mean this ain't 50% off? All right, bet it's finna be free.
He's extorting everybody, bro. He's extorting everybody. And it's crazy because he said he's like low-key alluded to a lot of these things in interviews, like when he went on Drink Champ and like I forgot that other podcast that he went on where he was speaking on. Like he was just saying too much, bro. This nigga was bullying everybody. That's why the story that these other people that came out, like the I think SKG or something like that. her story came out a long time ago. And then also, not to mention, Big U's sister had came out and said how he was bullying.
That lady is not Big U's sister. That lady is not Big U's sister. Make sure my bad, hold on. That lady is not Big U's sister. Let me make sure I say that loud. Let me make sure I say that proud. That lady is not Big U's sister. And that other lady is not his niece. They lying too. And mother and daughter got cases on each other for calling the police on each other. But that's a different situation for a different day. That lady ain't his sister.
To mention, Big U's sister had came out and said how he was bullying and to get his way, bro. These people are going. Well, they already flipped on him, but yeah, it's not looking good for this man. Man, he out here, he paying to get people beat up, paying to get people store trash in order for him to get. If he don't get a discount, like that's crazy work, bro.
December 27, 2020, on an intercepted call, defendant Henley told a Big U Enterprise associate that they need to hang OG Cuz. On December 27, 2020, on an intercepted call, defendant Henley told another Big U Enterprise associate that OG Crip Cuz need to be disciplined thoroughly for a violation of cripping. On December 30th, 2022, on an intercepted call, defendant Henley said that when defendant Henley catches WACK100, I'm going to break his jaw. On December 31, 2022, on an intercepted call, defendant
Henley... All these intercepted calls, bro, is going to make him look so... They don't even got to paint him to be no monster, bro. The wiretaps alone, all these calls, saying all this stuff, bro, talking about breaking people's jaw, talking about disciplining people, hanging people, extorting people, stealing from people, taking from people. Like, bro, this is gonna be, he's finished.
Henley said that defendant Henley was bigger than deceased rapper Nipsey Hussle, that defendant Henley disciplined Nipsey Hussle, and that defendant Henley was bigger than any other Rolling 60.
Now that's gonna be ugly, especially with them thinking about, the rumor that the same DA that had the Nipsey Hussle 187 is gonna now be Big U's DA. That's gonna be an ugly case. That's gonna be UGLY. You ain't got no alibi. It's ugly.
And this is gonna in the public's eye, the way I feel like everybody gonna see this is like this is gonna also make for another case as far as because they're gonna try to pin Nipsey Hussle murder on him as well. This is not gonna look good. This looks like jealousy, envy. It's just gonna add to them building a case to paint him to be, a monster, bro. Cause this is crazy. Like, and he talking like this behind the scene, and just it looks bad. It looks bad when you talking like this. So it's like people gonna start talking, and this leads me to believe that he probably did have something to do with Nipsey's demise, man. Cause I always felt that energy from him, just based off of like little stuff that he was doing, like after Nipsey passed, and like it just seemed like, and obviously you're gonna try to keep your enemies close, right? That's basically what he was doing, because he didn't really mess with Nipsey like that. If you talking like that behind closed doors, like, why you hating on this man? And even in his death, you still hating on him? That's some crazy work.
On December 31st, 2022, on an intercepted call, defendant Henley said that if anyone has an issue with defendant Henley, they will no longer be alive. On this January 1st, 2023, on an intercepted call.
I'm telling you, bro, this is looking ugly. This is gonna look bad. Him saying that alone, he already got the murder for the they already trying to pin the murder on him for the boy that was in Vegas that passed away, Ray Sean. I forgot Ray Sean something. And then he talking like that. And then we've also seen a pattern. Every time somebody make a diss song about him, they could come up missing, or they end up being unalive. The Ray Sean boy that passed away, he did a diss song towards Big U. What happened to him? They found his body in the desert. You know, Nipsey once upon a time made a diss song about Big U as well, and Big U pulled up on him, trying to, you know, and Nipsey.
Now the diss song history is bad. That is going to show a habit of this is how you deal with situations. And yeah, the diss song situation is not going to make things better at all. It's going to get ugly before it's get worse.
Brother had
it's going to get uglier before it get prettier for sure.
Had to step in and you know, get him up off him. And then shortly after, you know, Nipsey passed away. This is looking bad, bro. And by him saying that, this is gonna prove, it's gonna help their case against him. Cause it's gonna make it look like, okay, he on some like kingpin type shit. Like he, you know, turned on his own community though. That's the cold part about it.
Defender Henley said that he was not beefing with Nipsey Hussle because if any beef with Defender Henley, I'ma kill him.
Now, I will say this, unpopular opinion, but it's a fact. Unfortunately, in the community that we come from, we more likely to turn on each other than it is for an enemy to come in and turn on one of us. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. It's an unfortunate reality of the area that I come from, but it is what it is, man. God bless everybody involved.
Period. I am going to murder him. On January 2nd, 2023, on an interception call, Defender Henley told Big U Enterprise Associates DS that to manipulate the press for DS' lawsuit against law enforcement, DS should show both positive and negative parts of his life, wear glasses, and say that he was working with developing options even though he was not. On January 2nd, 2023, on an intercepted call, Defender Henley told Big U Enterprise Associates DS that Defender Henley needed to at least break the producer's jaw. On January 3rd, 2023, on an intercepted call, Defender Henley described to an incarcerated individual tooling up with firearms to travel to a Crips neighborhood because we are the most arrogant, bougie, self-righteous motherfuckers on planet Earth. On January 3rd, 2023, on an intercepted call, Defender Henley told an incarcerated individual that Defender Henley was going to purchase 6 miniature phones to send to the incarcerated individual so that he could sell them in prison for $1,000 each. On January 5th, 2023, on an intercepted call, Defender Henley said that another individual was done for being a rat.
Hey, I wouldn't be surprised if they start speaking on like other murders and stuff like that, and start trying to pin like other murders on him, because look how he's talking in these wiretaps, bro. Look how this man is talking, bro. That is crazy work. Talking too much. It's like, this is why, like, if I always told myself, if I was gonna ever, you know, do some dirt, I'm just gonna do it by myself, because you just can't trust nobody, bro. He's talking too much. And he got too comfortable. He got way too comfortable. And thinking he was...
Hey, that's the realest thing, man. I never did dirt with nobody because I already knew if the blah, 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 I'm FLAKKO out. If the ish hit the fan, I'm not gonna tell on me. You might tell on me, but I ain't gonna never tell on me. So do your dirt by your lonely, kids. I ain't saying do dirt at all, but if you go do dirt, do it by your lonely.
He was untouchable. And we seen that. Hey, what did the Bible say? Pride go before destruction, go before the fall. And right now we are seeing the fall. You know, this man was envious. He was very envious and jealous, you know, of the late great Nipsey Hussle. You know, he was bullying everybody, extorting everybody, you know, and it's just crazy because, You put that, like Nipsey said, you put that energy out there in the world. I mean, I'm not surprised that we seeing this unfold like this, bro, because he literally did it to himself. Nobody told him to go on these podcasts and be on these phone calls talking all reckless like that. Like, and especially if you know the feds is on you or the feds is watching. Like,
So y'all, all that right there, man, that's crazy. You know, I ain't gonna go through all that. Y'all heard what was said, but it looked like he was having phone conversations with other dudes. And, you know, like I said, when you don't know the feds is listening, and you know you shooting your shot and you popping your ish, ain't no telling what'll come out your mouth. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, he was saying he was bigger than Nipsey. He the biggest 60. He had Nipsey discipline, all type of like crazy stuff. So, you know, that, you know, these are just the phone calls, wiretaps, not my words. These are you words. You know what I'm saying? Allegedly. On January 12th.
nah, it ain't allegedly no more, because if they got these wiretaps, I mean, that's your voice on the recording. How are you gonna explain that away? How are you gonna get out of that? How are you gonna get out of that? Like, I don't see Big U beating this. The evidence is too thorough. You know what I mean? It's too concrete, bro. They got this man talking on phone calls. His voice, his voice.
Yeah, them wiretaps is tricky. They tricky, man. They tricky. And unless you're going to sit here and find somebody who has your exact voice at the exact time of that conversation, you're pretty much FUCKED, big dog.
Voice, his vocals. And then, seeing how you talking about Nipsey, hey, it's a lot of people that love Nip, man. Man.
23 on the intercepted car, defendant Hilly said he wanted to beat the shit out of WACK100. On January 17, 2023, on the intercepted car, defendant Hilly discussed traveling to Georgia Downs within Grape Street, Crip territory, and threatening to kill motherfuckers every day until he got his things back. On January 17, 2023, on the intercepted car, defendant Hilly stated that he was the hunter of the 60s and that he had...
And that's the thing, too. Like, bro is 60 years old. Like, at 60 years old, this nigga is still in the field. And he probably, obviously, yeah, he got people that go for him as well, though. But it's like, bruh, at 60 years old, you should be trying to live your life. Enjoy your freedom. Man, hey, kids, stay out the streets, man. The streets ain't it no more, bro. It ain't it. There's too many cameras everywhere. You got, especially because of the internet, I mean, dudes is going on these podcasts, going on the internet, exposing themselves. The police ain't got to do nothing but sit back and watch and listen. Like, it ain't no sense of even doing. As a matter of fact, I think somebody was talking about this. I forgot where I was at. But, I was watching something, but I guess they got, like, something to where, like, man, the technology that they have, the police have right now, is crazy. I heard they have something like basically like where if you like when a shot ring out, they can literally locate the area that the bullet came from and all that stuff. Like something that picks up the I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm telling you, man, this technology they got, man, they got drones, they got all this type of stuff out now. It's like doing crimes, that shit's over with. And think you gonna get away? Nah, this ain't the 80s.
Had obtained paperwork on individuals that should not be associated with the gang anymore. On February 13, 2023, on an intercepted call, defendant Henley told a co-conspirator that defendant Henley was going to break the jaw of the business manager for a former MVP. On February 14, 2023, on an intercepted call, defendant Henley described smacking the Jew boy again. On April 1st, 2023, on an intercepted call, defendant Henley asked someone to grab defendant Henley's blower, which he left on the ground in a blue sweater in front of a tire. On April 23rd, 2023, on an intercepted call, Defendant Henley discussed gang politics with a co-conspirator and stated, "I'm retired, nigga, activist. I'll pull up on your block right now, nigga, and show up and show out, nigga. That's what happened to the last nigga that thought I was retired." So
now you're admitting to being active and unretired at over the age of 60, which will make you, by the federal government's investigations, a gang leader. This is ugly.
Telling on himself. Bro, he's like did he just admit to unaliving somebody else? Or
So if these is his words, if saying the feds got this on wiretap, why talking about you retired and this and that, and then talking about you would show up and show out and act crazy? So yeah, Big, you was talking crazy over this phone call, man, over these phones. So like, I ain't gonna even lie, like he can't even like really blame nobody but himself, man.
I personally believe, and I'm going to tell you what I believe versus what I know as a fact, that you could know what to... If I say I believe, you could say, oh, you disagree. If I say I know as a fact, you can't disagree with actual paperwork and the facts. What I believe is that the feds fast-tracked an ongoing indictment for multiple reasons. Let me give you some details. This entire situation got started, and the feds got involved after there was a kid that got killed who they claim was by Big U. The kid made this song to Big U. He was signed to Big U. Big U supposedly reportedly had an altercation with a person at the studio, brought that kid to somewhere else, and then they believe at that spot, Big U shot the kid in the head. Then brought the kid's body to the side of a highway and dumped it. Okay? Now, the reason why all this is happening, and because I keep telling you, the feds don't really come in and fuck LA that much, is that it looks like Big U has been in a very interesting place. He's been a target of many things. Not only has he been going around bragging that he's like, you know, like the Crip version of what Suge Knight is, people are looking at him to be like, yo, okay, if this is, you know, he's been a community leader as well. So when you get to be extra OG, you get to be a community leader. So Big U was running this organization called Development Options, but was also working through what they call a grid program, where it was getting paid over like $540,000 a year. So in about a few years, he got paid almost damn near $3 million, because the program they have in LA is that the cops, like, you know, it's not like these other places, like say New York. The cops are scared of the gangs. You know why? Because the gangs almost outnumber the cops. Okay? So they try to work with them to some extent. So, you know, in some cities, they do what's called a grid program. What a grid program is that, you know, they're going to rely on older and senior members of maybe a gang to try to restore some peace and squash the violence. And also, if there was a situation to happen, that person is going to work with law enforcement to make sure it doesn't go further. Okay? You guys can Google this. It is widely available. It's called the Grid Program Los Angeles. Okay? If you read about it, it will tell you it's a gang prevention program that hires actual older gang members, because at least in LA, there's a hierarchy. They do care about what the older heads say, as opposed to other places. And they give those people funds and resources to try to, you know, squash violence or retaliatory shit. Okay? All right. So the murder happens, allegedly. They think it's Big U, but they can't figure it out as Big U. Why can't they figure it out? So at the point, the altercation happened. The first altercation happened with the guy who died in a studio. It was Big U's studio. So apparently Big U orders for all the what do you call it again? I can't speak right now. He orders for all the security cameras to be discarded. So no one could ever find out what happened and how bad the scuffle was before the night the dude disappeared. The witnesses, whether the person who drove Big U to Vegas, because this happened to Vegas, not LA, other people that were around, whether in the studio, whatever, everyone was told, do not speak with the police. Now, it wasn't until a long time afterwards till police, did their due diligence and realized, like, oh, shit, they believed it was Big U. But what they did do before they got there, and you got to imagine at this point, Big U's getting millions of dollars from this grid program. They want to know if this guy's a criminal. They actually opened up what's called a Title III intercept, which is a wiretap. And they started tapping his phone. And when they tapped his phone, he clearly thought he had got off because visibly they didn't show that they were around him anymore.
It's crazy how much can go wrong, but until a body falls, nobody's interested. Because I'm willing to bet that possibly all this could have went on a little bit longer. It would have been bad all the way, no matter what. But I'm willing to wager it would have went on a little bit longer had there not been any bloodshed.
So he started yapping, telling them what I ran down on this person, you had this nigga give me this money. And I don't know if that's fully in here.
Shoulder to shoulder charge. The money from that indictment and...
Okay. But I do have the indictment here. And I'm going to not read through the whole thing, but I'm going to spell it out pretty quickly. So check this out. First and foremost, the reason why I think that WACK100 affected this case, and I said it in front of him, and I'll say it to y'all. I think WACK tipped off Big U's family. This was not a grand jury indictment. This was a criminal complaint. A criminal complaint is used to... if you're charging someone with murder, that's not going to stick. You get what I'm saying? Like, a criminal complaint... No, you want it to be grand jury, which means there was an actual legal proceeding where you presented evidence and they agreed with the evidence. So this was just to get Big U in custody. Well, why would they do that? Why would they need to get Big U in custody? Well, WACK100 was online for the last 3 weeks before this got announced saying, yo, they're coming to get you. Run, 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 run. So I would imagine that that's more of a...
And if that's true, that leads me to the wondering of why WACK100 is not in jail for aiding and abetting to the fleeing of a fugitive. That is an obstruction of a federal crime, which should make WACK wanted by the federal government, because you obstructed you aided and abetted for a federal fugitive to run from the federal government. That is a literal federal crime. My question is, why is WACK100 not in jail? I've been asking this question for the longest, and I still have yet to get an answer.
Contributing factor than anything else. Okay? So cool. So it's a criminal complaint. It got filed here. And then we're going to keep scrolling down. This is a whole indictment, by the way. Now, there's some redacted pieces here. And the redacted pieces tell you that you're going to see the superseding indictment. Now, this is the purpose of the affidavit. So they're saying Big U, these other people, they're running this enterprise. And they're saying, for example, Tremaine Ashley Williams, which is loose cannon. He did a few things by robbing people, this and third, and they mentioned some women, all type of shit. Now, they also got a search warrant. They didn't run through his houses, and I don't know what they found. But let me explain essentially what this investigation was. In February 2021, FBI, Los Angeles Metropolitan Task Force on Violent Gangs launched an investigation into Henley's criminal enterprise and its association with the Rolling 60s, which began investigating in 2020. It's like mafia-like. It utilizes Henley's stature and long-standing association with the Rolling 60s and other street gangs to intimidate businesses and individuals in LA. Big U Enterprise is led by Henley. Henley is a self-admitted gang member, or OG, original gangster, of the Rolling 60s, which is a violent criminal street gang with associated sets in other states. He's widely acknowledged as a leader, and apparently in the 80s he rose to prominence in his position and he's been there ever since. During this time, he also earned a reputation of being an enforcer for the 60s. Some members of the enterprise are also members of the 60s. Henley is able to lead the Big U enterprise because of his stand-in as the face of Rolling 60s. For decades,
It has to suck when only your words are being used against you. Goodness gracious, it has to be terrible when you've basically have told 100% on yourself and you can't even blame nobody. You got to blame you on you.
he's in blah, blah, blah,
No pun intended.
blah, blah. Okay, so the feds are painting two pictures. There's Rolling 60s and Big U Enterprise, okay? So they then say the associates of Rolling 60s and other criminal elements for mutual benefit, but the Big U Enterprise is a distinct and independent criminal enterprise engaged in criminal activity.
How different do you start moving?
And that's it, man. It's ugly work. It's ugly work. It's ugly work, man. Red dots to the left. Y'all know the rest. And it's free Avenue Angel till he's free. I'm making breakfast for the kids. We gone.